In this video, we are going to answer one very seemingly simple question. And that question is, are the Detroit Pistons as bad as the preseason showed? They were 0-4. They played really bad. They were beat badly by all four teams, including your very wonderful Oklahoma City Thunder. They were beat soundly in every single game against good teams, against bad teams, and middle of the road teams. And at first, when we played the Knicks, I was like, all right, they're full court press, and this is a Thibodeau special. They're outplaying us. They're playing too hard for preseason. I know that sounds weird, but that's kind of where I felt. And then by the time we were getting into OKC, I was starting to get a little nervous because we were getting rocked by them too. But here's the question: are they as bad as we think? Let's start with what the preseason shows them being. If they're as bad as the preseason shows, they are the worst team in the NBA. Do you honestly believe that the Detroit Pistons are the worst team in the NBA by season's end? Do you believe they will have the worst record in the NBA by season's end? That's a question that you have to ask yourself, because that is what the preseason showed. The next thing you have to ask yourself is, what are the numbers? What does it look like? How are we playing? How are we shooting? For any of us diehards that watch the Memphis game, one of the things is that we missed a lot of shots in the first half, a lot of wide open shots too. So I don't believe that trend's going to continue. But here's what I want to do. I want to start by looking at some stats and kind of walking through what we saw in the preseason and see if that's something that is going to translate into the regular season. And then I want to go talk about a couple of specific players. I want to talk about Cade Cunningham. I want to talk about Killian Hayes. I want to talk about Jaden Ivey. I want to talk about Isaiah Stewart. And I want to talk about Jalen Duren. We're going to talk about those 5 players. But first, let's just pop into the stats real quick here. And I want all of you to see what's going on here. Our team lead in points is Saddiq Bey. I don't think that's a huge shock. What is a shock is that Cade's not even on there. Rebounds, Jalen Duren. And then there's not a lot going on in the other categories, but I'm more interested in percentages. So first we can look at like field goal percentage here. Saddiq Bey is shooting 36% from the field. Killian Hayes is at 44%. Jaden Ivey at 34%. Stewart at 516. I think that's about right for him. Cade, 30% from the field. Oh my goodness. That's terrible. Corey Joseph is our best shooting guard. Livers is at 42% almost. Bogdanovich. Here's the point that I'm trying to make, especially if you go into the 3-point percentage category. If you go into 3-point percentage, what you see is, one, that's actually really encouraging, the fact that Isaiah Stewart is shooting almost 39%. But then you see all these guys and you're like, man, oh man, Boyan at 313, Livers at 30%, Saddiq Bey at 29, almost 30%. Like all these guys, Cunningham, Ivy, just shooting the ball very, very poorly. And I think that was the theme of the preseason. On offense, it was just straight up bad shooting. We had some nights where there was some good passing. We were finding open guys. Saddiq Bey in the final preseason game had to miss 4 just wide open threes. Boyan missed wide open threes. Cade missed wide open threes. Killian was hitting threes, not in the last game, but because he didn't play. But that's the theme of the offense. Can we hit open shots? It's that simple. Theme of the defense is the switching every single time working. And here's the reason I like it, and here's the reason I hate it. And I don't really have an in-between ground. I like it because we have bigs that can switch onto smalls, and you don't have to worry about whether it's a sniper from the outside or a quick guy on a guard. Like what it does is I will be honest, it helps neutralize extremely good wing and guards, good wing players and guards. It helps neutralize that with the switch everything. But it really helps the big men on the other team. And the thing that I hate about it is that it gets the guards in foul trouble. Part of it is that they're young. But once again, Cade Cunningham, Killian Hayes, Jaden Ivey, they consistently found themselves with 2, 3, 4 fouls early on in games. And I find them subbing out. And you're just like, what is going on here? And it's just so frustrating because that was Cade's issue last year. So, anyways, I'm starting to get into the individual player breakdowns. But here's after my long-winded answer. Are the Detroit Pistons as bad as the preseason suggests? No, they are not the worst team in the NBA. Will it be a horrible first 10 to 20 games? I think so. Unfortunately, especially for this channel, because viewership is going to go way down if the team's not playing well, because the excitement won't be as good. And my hope is that you'll continue to watch. But yeah, it's not going to look pretty at first, especially when you consider all of our veterans are kind of hurt right now. You have Nerlens Noel. Is he going to be ready to play in time? And how long will it take him to mesh with the new teammates? You have Marvin Bagley that's going to be out for a little while with a knee injury. Again, when we signed him to that contract, that's exactly what we said. Like, availability is a great ability, or the best ability is availability, and he's not that guy. He's only going to play in 40 or 50 games. That's just what he's been through his career. That's probably what he'll continue to be this year too, and next year, and we're paying him $10 million to do that or more. And then you have Alec Burks, and I don't want to forget how important of a piece I think he could have played. He could play the 3 and Sadiq could slide to the 4. Boyan could play the 4. You could have him at the 2 with Cade at the 1. And now all of a sudden 1 through 4 can shoot the rock. And I think that's really important to realize. If you put Cade, Burks, Bay, Bogdanovich, like, that's a lineup that can shoot. With Isaiah Stewart, you have 5 guys all supposedly can shoot. But I want to talk about a few different guys, because I said I would, even though I feel like I'm getting long-winded on this. Cade Cunningham looked really bad. I'm just going to flat out say it. We came on here and we did a video on how mad we were. I think Stephen A. Smith called out Cade for his motor and all that kind of stuff. Here is the truth. Dude was coasting in the preseason. And that's okay, honestly. Some guys put the lights on. When the lights are brightest, that's when they perform. Cade has shown to be that guy when he's playing against better opponents, when he's playing against better players. He plays his best basketball, and that's what you want. You would rather a guy who plays his best basketball in the regular season, in the playoffs, against good competition. That's what you want. But so I don't think we can view the preseason as an accurate representation of where Cade's at. He was just getting through the preseason to not get hurt, I think, and be a part of this, because he was hurt to begin the year last year. I don't think he wanted to see that. None of us wanted to see it as well. Isaiah Stewart, dude has been shooting. He was scaring me a little bit in the last and final preseason game after, I think he missed his first 5, but then he knocked down 3 in a row, or missed his first 4, knocked down 3 in a row, missed 1, made 1. And so, like, he was taking a lot of threes because Steven Adams was like, I'm not going out there. I'm not guarding him. If he can make teams pay with that, I think we're really going to like a lineup where he is the 5 rather than the 4. It will allow him to be a majority pick and pop. I would like to see him in those lineups, especially if you have Ivy handling the ball a lot, or if you have Killian handling the ball a lot. Cade and Isaiah Stewart don't have a lot more time to get this chemistry thing down, but it's rough between the two of them. Stewart seems to have stone hands when Cade's passing him the ball, and Cade's passes always seem to be just a little off. It's like they just can't quite get on the same page. So watch those two and how they play. Jaden Ivey, all the concerns, all the strengths were on full display. And it was a reminder in the preseason that he's a rookie. In the second preseason game, he had a fantastic game. He kept us in the game. In the third one, too, outside of the 7 turnovers, which is exactly what you'd think. He shot the 3 very poorly, and you hope that that comes around a little bit during the regular season, gets north of 30%, and he ends up being a 32 to 35% three-point shooter this year. But it's all the concerns that you had, which are turnovers and threes, and then all the good. But the defense is actually further along than I thought it would be. And I also want to talk about Killian. I would love for Killian to play good enough that Corey Joseph is an afterthought. Joseph is playing good basketball this preseason. He's consistent, and I never thought I'd say this, but I actually enjoy when Corey Joseph is on the floor because he's the only guy that's consistently shooting the ball right now in this backcourt. So to have that or on this team outside of Stewart, that's huge. That's huge to have, but he clearly has athletic misses. So if Killian can get that jumper down, oh my goodness. Again, I'm excited about what he could be as well. So that's kind of where we're at. The long and short of it is they're not going to keep being this bad. There are some concerns legitimately with the shooting on this team. We knew it from the beginning, but the fact that they just keep shooting worse and worse. And I don't want to say this because I love Michigan. I love Beeline. But since he's been on this team, the shooting has not improved. I don't think one player other than Stewart has improved his shooting. Uh, and the jury's out on Killian. And so, and I know Beeline was heavily involved in that, so that could be a good feather in his cap. But that's kind of where I'm at, everybody. Let me know what you think. Are the Pistons going to be dog awful? Are they going to be making a playoff push? What are you thinking? I'm thinking right now they're a bottom 3 team in the East, and we're going to be looking lottery again this year. So let's watch with that, and let's watch the development and the growth of the young guys. I think that'll be fun, and I will be preaching that for a very long time. I'm ready for the season to start. It's preseason. We live in Detroit. Lions were 4-0 one preseason. They ended the season with an 0-16 record. So let's not judge a book by its preseason cover. And hopefully a bunch of people don't hit me in the comments saying it's preseason, you're caring about it too much, because I just said that. So boom. All right. I'll see you guys later. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done it, and we will see you on the next